So, I guess I should start by telling you who I am. My name's Maribel. I'm 32 and I run my own landscaping company. Yeah, I know, not exactly glamorous, but I love working with my hands and making people's yards look amazing. I've been doing it for about 8 years now. Built it from nothing. My family, well, there's my parents. Dad's 58 and Mom's 56. They're your typical suburban couple, always worried about what the neighbors think. Then there's my older sister, Darianne. She's 35, married to this guy named Colt, and they've got 2 kids, Ella, who's 8, and Trevor, who's 5. Darianne and I have never been super close. She was always the golden child, you know. Got married young, popped out grandkids, the whole 9 yards. 2 months ago, Darianne's house burned down. She called me crying at 2 a.m., saying they'd lost everything. I felt terrible for them, especially the kids. So, I helped them find a rental apartment and even paid for it. But that's getting ahead of myself. The real story starts with a phone call from Mom last week. Maribel, we're having Sunday dinner. You need to be there. It's important. The way she said it made my stomach drop. When Mom says something's important, it usually means drama. I showed up at their house that Sunday with a gray folder tucked under my arm. When I walked in, the whole gang was there. Not just Mom, Dad, Darianne, and Colt, but also Aunt Doreen and Grandma Lila. Grandma's 78, but sharp as a tack. She and Aunt Doreen are the only ones in this family with any sense. We sat down for dinner. Mom's pot roast, same as always. Everyone was making small talk, but I could feel the tension. Finally, halfway through the meal, Mom clinked her fork against her glass. Well, as everyone knows, Mom started, putting on her serious voice. Darianne's house burned down 2 months ago, and they're now living in a small rental apartment. Right on cue, Darianne started crying. It's so hard, she sobbed. The kids don't have their own rooms anymore. We can barely fit our stuff in there. I couldn't help myself. The apartment I'm paying for, you mean? Darianne's tears stopped like someone turned off a faucet. That's not relevant to today's conversation. Mom cleared her throat. As I was saying, your father and I have discussed this with the family, and we've come to a decision. Maribel, you need to give your house to Darianne. I almost choked on my water. Excuse me. You're single and childless, Mom continued like she was reading from a script. Darianne has 2 children who need stability. When the insurance money comes through, she'll give you some of it so you can buy yourself a smaller place. Everyone was nodding along except Aunt Doreen, who was staring at her plate. Grandma chimed in. It's the right thing to do, Maribel. Family helps family. Dad finally spoke up. It's better if you do this voluntarily. Otherwise, we'll have to force it through the courts. After all, we gave you the money for that house's down payment. That was Grandpa's trust fund money, I shot back. He set it up for my education. I went to college on scholarships, so I used it for the house. You didn't give me anything. Regardless, Mom said, you need to do this for your sister. Pulled out my folder. Actually, I have something to share too. I opened it and spread the papers on the table. These are documents about the fire at Darianne's house. The room went quiet. See, Darianne told everyone the fire was caused by old electrical wiring. But according to this police report and the fire department's examination, the fire was caused by careless smoking during a party. A drunken party, to be specific. I held up the papers. The fire department's report says an unextinguished cigarette caused the fire. The kids nearly died from smoke inhalation. The firefighters had to pull them out. There was dead silence, then murmuring started. But wait, there's more, I continued. Darianne doesn't have home insurance, so there's no insurance money coming. Grandma's voice cut through the noise. What do you mean, no insurance? I gave that house to Darianne as a wedding gift 10 years ago. I've been giving her money every year for insurance and property taxes. Darianne stayed silent. I pulled out another document. This is a bank statement showing that I've been paying Darianne's property taxes for the last 10 years. Where has my money been going? Grandma demanded. Probably vacations, I said. You're lying. Darianne screamed. Don't believe her. Mom jumped in. Maribel's making this all up. I don't believe a word. The evidence is right here, I said, tossing the folder on the table. Believe it or don't, but I'm not giving anyone my house. Oh, and by the way, my house is now owned by my company, so you can't claim it anyway. You can't do this to your sister and her children, Mom shouted. Maybe Darianne should have thought about her children before having drunken parties, I replied. Aunt Doreen stood up. Maribel's done nothing wrong. She shouldn't have to give up her house because Darianne was irresponsible. We grabbed our stuff and headed for the door. As we left, I heard Grandma say, I'm not leaving until Darianne explains where all my money went. The drive home was quiet. Aunt Doreen patted my shoulder before getting in her car. You did good, kid. When I got home from that disaster of a dinner, I was still shaking. First thing I did was grab my laptop and log into my banking app. Time to stop being everyone's ATM. I scrolled through my automatic payments. There it was, $720 monthly to Raven Credit Union. Darianne's car payment. She'd cried to me 2 years ago that Colt's credit was shot and they couldn't get approved. Just until we get back on our feet, she'd said. Still waiting for that to happen, apparently. Clicked cancel. Pop-up asked if I was sure. You bet I was. Confirmed. Next, the apartment. When Darianne's house burned down, she called me sobbing at 2 a.m. Maribel, we have nowhere to go. The kids are traumatized. Please help us. So I did what I always did. I found them a place. A nice 3-bedroom on Pinebrook Drive. Already 2 months gone. I found Nate, the landlord's number, and dialed. Hey Nate, it's Maribel about the Pinebrook rental. I won't be paying after this month. You'll need to deal with Darianne directly now. But you guaranteed 6 months. No, I paid 2 months up front and guaranteed up to 6 if needed. Check the lease. My obligation ends now. He wasn't happy, but I'd been smart enough to limit my liability in writing. After hanging up, I sat back and thought about how I even knew to prepare for that dinner. It was Aunt Doreen who'd warned me a month ago. Maribel, I need to tell you something, she'd said over coffee. I was at your parents' house yesterday. They didn't know I was in the hallway. They were planning something with Darianne. Planning what? They want to pressure you to give Darianne your house. They're going to ambush you at a family dinner with everyone there. That night I couldn't sleep. Something felt off about Darianne's whole fire story. She kept saying it was electrical problems, but she just had the house rewired 3 years ago. I knew because I'd helped pay for it. Whenever I asked about insurance, she changed the subject. So I made a decision. I Googled private investigators and found Damon Reed, a former cop who specialized in insurance fraud. We met at a Starbucks downtown. I need information about a house fire, I told him. My sister's place burned down 2 months ago. Something doesn't add up. What do you need exactly? He asked. Police reports, fire department findings, insurance claims. Anything you can get. A week later, Damon called. You need to see this in person. We met at the same Starbucks. He slid a thick folder across the table. Your sister lied about everything, he said. The fire started during a party. Alcohol was involved. Multiple witness statements confirm your sister and her husband were intoxicated. I read through the police report. My hands started shaking when I got to the part about the kids. The children were found unconscious from smoke inhalation. Damon continued. Firefighters rescued them from a back bedroom. They spent 2 nights in the hospital. Oh my God, I whispered. There's more, he said. The fire department ruled it as negligence. An unextinguished cigarette in the living room. And here's the kicker. There's no insurance claim. But my grandma gives her money for insurance every year, I said, my voice trembling. Well, it wasn't going to insurance, he replied. Also, Colt's brother works for CPS. That's probably why they kept custody of the kids. Felt sick. Those poor kids could have died while their parents partied. One more thing, Damon said. I heard through my sources that your parents have been talking to a lawyer about forcing you to help your sister. Something about family obligations and elderly parent rights, since your dad co-signed your mortgage originally. That's when I knew I had to protect myself. I called my lawyer that afternoon. Ethan, I need to transfer my house to my LLC immediately. That's a big step, he said. What's going on? I explained everything. Ethan whistled low. They can't force you to give up your house, but they could make your life hell trying. Smart move. We can have it done by end of week. 3 days later, I sat in Ethan's office signing papers. My hand was steady as I wrote my name on document after document. With each signature I felt a weight lifting. My house was becoming officially owned by Maribel Landscapes LLC, my company that I built from nothing. It's done, Ethan said, notarizing the last page. Your house is now a business asset. They can't touch it. I left his office feeling stronger than I had in years. My house was safe. I had evidence of Darianne's lies. I was ready for that Sunday dinner. Looking back now, sitting in my protected house with my cancelled payments, I realized something. I'd been enabling my family for years, thinking I was helping. But I wasn't helping, I was just making it easier for them to use me. I opened my laptop again and started creating a new spreadsheet. Time to calculate exactly how much I'd spent on my ungrateful family over the years. Every birthday check, every emergency loan, every bill I'd covered. I spent the rest of that night finishing my spreadsheet. Every single expense was there. The furniture set I bought Darianne when she first got married. $3,800. The washer and dryer when hers broke. $1,900. Monthly loans that were never paid back. Money for the kids' school supplies, clothes, birthday parties. It was endless. Then my parents. Dad's unemployment period when I covered their mortgage for 4 months. Mom's car repairs. The new roof last year. $13,000. Grocery money here and there. Utility bills when things got tight. The final number made me want to throw up. $157,920. I'd given my family over $150,000 over the past 10 years. With that money, I could have bought another work truck, hired 2 more crews, maybe even opened a second location for my landscaping business. The next morning, Aunt Doreen called early. Your mom started a family group chat yesterday. She's added everyone. All the cousins, aunts, uncles, even some family friends. You need to see what they're saying. My phone buzzed with the invite. I joined and immediately saw dozens of messages. Mom had started it off. Mom. Family, I need your support. Maribel has abandoned her parents and sister in our time of need. Cousin Brianna. What happened? Mom. Darianne lost her house in a fire. She has 2 young children. We asked Maribel to help since she has a big house all to herself, but she refused. Uncle Dean. That's cold. Family should help family. Mom. She's never been there for us. Never helps with anything. My blood was boiling. Never helped. Kept reading. Cousin Mark. That's messed up. Those poor kids. Family friend Sharon. Some people forget where they came from. Mom. We gave her everything growing up. Paid for her house down payment. Now she turns her back on us. Every single comment had a like from Mom. She was orchestrating this whole thing. Darianne chimed in. I didn't want to say anything, but Maribel hasn't even visited the kids since the fire. They keep asking where Aunt Maribel is. That was it. Had enough. I uploaded my spreadsheet to the chat. Since we're discussing who helps family, here's every penny I've given over the years. $157,920 total. Take a look. The chat went silent for about 30 seconds. Then it exploded. Mom. Maribel, you have no right to share private financial information. Me. It's my money. Mom. You have no right. Cousin Mark. Wait, you paid for all that? Uncle Dean. You've been paying their bills? Kept typing. Also, since we're sharing truth, let me tell you what really happened with Darianne's house fire. Mom. Maribel, stop this right now. I didn't stop. Darianne told everyone it was electrical problems. That's a lie. The fire was caused by a cigarette during a drunken party. I have the police report and fire department investigation right here. Cousin Brianna. Wait, are you serious? The kids nearly died. They were unconscious from smoke inhalation when firefighters pulled them out, I wrote. They spent 2 days in the hospital. Darianne. You're lying. Don't believe her. I have all the documentation. Police reports, fire department findings, hospital records. Anyone who wants to see them, I'll send them privately. Then I dropped the big one. Oh, and there's no insurance money coming, even though Grandma gives her money every year specifically for insurance. Darianne went silent. Uncle Dean. So, let me get this straight. Darianne got a free house from Grandma, didn't insure it, nearly killed her kids with drunken negligence, and then tried to take Maribel's house. That's exactly what happened, I typed. Aunt Doreen jumped in. I was at that dinner. I saw everything. Maribel's telling the truth. They ambushed her, demanding she hand over her house. It was disgusting. The tide turned fast. Cousin Brianna. Darianne, how could you? Mark. Those poor kids. You could have killed them. Friend Sharon. I can't believe this. More family members started commenting. All of them horrified. The cousins who got nothing from Grandma while Darianne got a whole house were especially angry. Uncle Dean. My kids didn't get houses. They got $1,000 for college. Darianne got a house and destroyed it. Cousin Lila. And then tried to steal Maribel's after Maribel's been supporting everyone. Mom tried damage control. This is a private family matter, she wrote. Maribel shouldn't be airing this publicly. Aunt Doreen. You made it public when you started this chat to shame Maribel. Now everyone knows the truth. People started leaving the chat one by one. First the family friends, then the cousins, then the uncles and aunts. Each exit was like a small victory. Typed one last message. For the record, when Darianne's house burned down, I immediately found them an apartment and paid for it. I've been covering it for 2 months, but that ends now. Then I left the chat too. My phone started ringing immediately. Mom. It declined. Declined. Darian. Block. Aunt Doreen texted me privately. Good for you. It was about time someone stood up to them. 3 days later, Grandma called. Maribel, can you come for tea tomorrow? I showed up at her neat little house the next afternoon. She had her good china out and had made those little sandwiches I loved as a kid. Darianne asked to move in with me, she said without preamble. I said no. I told her she made her bed and now she has to lie in it. Grandma, you don't have to choose sides because of me. She set down her teacup hard. I'm not choosing sides. I'm choosing sense. I gave that girl a $210,000 house as a wedding gift. None of my other grandchildren got anything close to that. She destroyed it through negligence and lied to me about it. I know you love her, Grandma. Love doesn't mean enabling bad behavior. I've been doing that for too long. Did you know she told me last year that the roof needed replacing? Said it would cost $16,000. I gave her the money. Grandma, I paid for their roof repair. It was $13,000. Her face went red. That girl has been stealing from me for years. Well, no more. I'm changing my will. She's out completely. That seems harsh. It's consequences, Maribel. Something I should have taught her long ago. We finished our tea, and she hugged me tight at the door. You're a good girl, Maribel. Don't let them make you think otherwise. A week after tea with Grandma, my parents finally called. I'd been expecting it. Honestly, they'd been silent since the group chat disaster, probably figuring out their next move. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. Dad's voice was ice cold. You've disgraced your sister. Destroyed her reputation in front of the entire family. She destroyed her own reputation when she nearly killed her kids, I said. You don't understand what it's like to be a parent. Sometimes accidents happen. Accidents. Dad, they were drunk. The kids were in the house. That's not an accident. That's criminal negligence. Mom grabbed the phone. You've always been jealous of Darianne. She has a family, children, a husband. You have nothing but your little gardening business. That stung, but I wasn't going to let her know. My little gardening business earned enough to support all of you for years. Over $150,000. Remember, family doesn't keep score, she snapped. Funny how that only applies when I'm the one giving. You're no longer welcome in this house. Fine by me. Hung up. The texts from Darianne started the next day. First, it was pictures of the kids looking sad in the small apartment. Ella keeps asking why Aunt Maribel doesn't love us anymore, read one message. Trevor cries every night because he misses his room, said another. I didn't respond. I knew manipulation when I saw it. She was using her kids as weapons, which honestly made me even more disgusted with her. The texts kept coming, different angles every day. One day it was about how Colt couldn't find work because he was too depressed about losing the house. The next day it was about how the kids were getting sick from mold in the apartment. Then it was about how they couldn't afford school supplies. After 2 weeks of this, I blocked her number. But she wasn't done. She started emailing me from different accounts. I set up a filter to send anything from her straight to trash. Then she got creative. She had the kids call me from Colt's phone. I answered without checking the number. And there was little Trevor's voice. Aunt Maribel, Mommy says you don't love us anymore. My heart broke, but I stayed strong. I love you very much, Trevor. But sometimes adults have complicated problems. Will you come see us? Not right now, sweetheart. I heard Darianne coaching him in the background. Tell her you're hungry. I hung up and blocked Colt's number too. The thing is, I knew those kids were fine. Aunt Doreen had been checking on them. She told me Colt had actually gotten a promotion at work, not lost his job like Darianne claimed. The apartment was perfectly nice, no mold anywhere. The kids had everything they needed. Darianne was just trying to guilt me into bankrolling their life again. For months passed. I threw myself into my business. Without the constant drain of family expenses, I had money to invest. I bought a new commercial-grade mower and a second truck. I hired 3 new employees and started bidding on bigger contracts. I landed a maintenance deal with a chain of medical offices that alone would bring in $11,000 a month. My business was thriving like never before. Funny how much you can accomplish when you're not carrying dead weight. One afternoon, Aunt Doreen called. You need to know what your sister's up to now, she said. She and Colt took out a construction loan to build a new house on the lot where the old one was. How? They have terrible credit. Your parents co-signed. They're using their house as collateral. I sat down hard. They're risking their house for Darianne. After everything. It gets better, she said. While the new house is being built, Darianne and her family are moving in with your parents. Your mom's already complaining to anyone who will listen about how cramped it is. How the kids are too loud, how Colt eats all their food. I couldn't help but laugh. They're getting exactly what they wanted. Karma's funny that way, Doreen said. I thought about reaching out to my parents, warning them about what they were getting into. But then I remembered Mom's words. Family doesn't keep score. You're no longer welcome. They'd made their choice. Over the next few months, I heard bits and pieces through Aunt Doreen. The construction loan was for $430,000. The new house was going to be bigger than the old one, with a pool and a 3-car garage. Darianne was posting on Facebook about her dream home being built. Meanwhile, my parents were miserable. Dad called Aunt Doreen one night, nearly in tears, saying he couldn't sleep because the kids were up all hours. Mom complained that Darianne expected her to babysit constantly while she went out with friends. Colt had taken over Dad's garage for his workout equipment. But they couldn't say anything because they'd picked their side. They'd chosen Darianne, the daughter who'd lied to them, stolen from them, and nearly killed her own children. They'd thrown away the daughter who'd supported them for years. Their choice, their consequences. As for me, I was doing better than ever. My company had grown to 12 employees. I just signed a contract with the city for park maintenance. I was looking at buying a small office building to use as headquarters instead of running everything from my home. I still had relationships with the family members who mattered. Grandma and I had tea every Sunday. She'd updated her will as promised, leaving Darianne nothing but a note explaining why. Consequences. She should have learned them years ago, Grandma told me. Aunt Doreen and I got closer than ever. We'd go to movies, try new restaurants, take weekend trips. She was the family I chose, not the family I was stuck with. Sometimes I wondered about Ella and Trevor. They were innocent in all this, but I knew that maintaining a relationship with them meant opening myself up to Darianne's manipulation again. Maybe when they were older, when they could understand what really happened, we could reconnect. The last I heard, the new house was almost finished. 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a pool, and a mortgage my parents would be paying if Darianne defaulted, which given her track record seemed likely. But that wasn't my problem anymore. I'd spent years being the family safety net, the one who fixed everything, paid for everything, took care of everything. Now I was taking care of myself, and I'd never been happier. My business was booming. My house was mine and protected. My real family, the ones who actually cared about me, were still in my life. And the toxic ones. They were living with their choices. Sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is stop setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. It took me 32 years to learn that lesson, but better late than never.